Looks like a 5-year-old naked.
I know.
WhatsApp group was the first.
Yes. I just hope it doesn't get out of control. That's the only problem with these people get overexcited. That was partly why I asked everyone to introduce themselves, because it's like these people, they just need to make themselves feel known. So if you give them a chance, like, you know, you can present yourself and say who you are, and then they feel like they've been acknowledged and they're a little peaceful, and then they don't need to. Are we online now?
Yes.
Oops. I hope that wasn't all recorded or I'll be in trouble. Welcome, Sanu. Okay. So, okay. But does it reach the wire?
Oh, it was recorded.
Okay.
So we've reached chapter 5.
Okay.
Finished Jnana Yoga chapter 4. Now we have come to chapter 5, Karma Sannyas Yoga, renunciation of action. Okay, then just zoom into the screen then. Okay, so we're going to hear from Gurudev as usual. Jai Shri Gurudev, Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Srimad Bhagavad-gita Panchamodhyaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Arjuna Vacha. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punarchugan cha sangsasi. Jat shreya etayorikam tanme bruhi sunishchitam.
Arjuna Vacha. Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi. Yad shreya etayor ekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Want to start, Sonny? It's here.
Arjuna said, "O Krishna, you speak of renunciation of actions, and then again you speak of the path of selfless action. Therefore, please tell me clearly which is superior."
So these are two different things: to physically give up action, or to engage in action but internally detach. You know, one's internal desire is detached from that action. So you're speaking of these two things, and I'm confused. Which is actually superior? Please be clear about this.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nisseyasa Karabhubhu Tayastu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Visishyate.
Sannyasa karma yogascha nishayasa karabhubho tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate.
The Supreme Lord said, both renunciation of action and the path of selfless action bring great benefit. Yet of the two, know that the way of selfless action is superior.
Gya sa nitya sannyasi jo na deshti no kankhati nirgando hi mahabahu sukhang bandhat pramuchyate.
Yeya sa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandha pramuchyate. I'm just looking at the word for word here. Karma sannyasa nitya. Oh, here it is. Nirdvandvo, to be free from duality. We hear that earlier in Bhagavad-gita also. Okay. Wait, I'm just... Okay. So that's number 3, right?
O my dear Arjuna, know that one who is free from attraction and aversion is truly renounced, though the performing action for one is free from duality easily attains liberation from bondage.
So others, there may be those who are physically renouncing action, but internally they have that, attraction and aversion, which is binding us in this world. But this is true renunciation, not necessarily physical, but to be internally free from that.
Sankhayogo prithagvala pravadanti na pandita ekamapyasthita shamyagubhayor brindati phalam.
Sankhya yogo prithagvala pravadanti na pandita ekam apyastita samyag ubayor vindate phalam.
The path of renunciation, Sankhya Yoga, and the path of selfless action, Karma Yoga, are considered separate paths by the unwise, but not by the learned. One who perfectly follows either of these paths will achieve the results of both.
Okay.
Yat sankhai prapati sthanam tad yogai rapi gammate ekang sankhancha yogancha jah pasyati sapasyati.
Yat sankhyae prapyate sthanam tad yoger api gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yapashyati sapashyati. The state achieved by the renunciation of action is also achieved by the performance of selfless action. One who sees these two paths to be one and the same actually sees. So we're in verse 6.
Sannyasastu mahabahu dukkhamaptu madhugata yoga yukto munir brahma nachide nadhigacchati.
Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkam aptam ayogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachide nadigachati.
O mighty hero, without selfless action, mere renunciation of action is the cause of sorrow. But the wise man who engages in selfless action swiftly attains to the Absolute.
Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurbannapi nalipate.
Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvan api nalipyate.
The clean-hearted person thus engaged in yoga controls his mind and senses, becoming filled with affection and compassion for all beings, Although fully active, he is never implicated by any action.
We saw that example in our Gurudev, the perfect example of that, engaging in so many matters of this world and full of so much affection, compassion for others, internally, detached from everything, fully, self-controlled. I mentioned just recently, just a little example of one time our this is like true yogi, that are everything they do, they are nothing is done with their own interest. Even if they may show some anger or what ordinary spiritualists may see as some lower thing, like anger, that is actually an expression of some spiritual feeling. It's not that real yogis are always like closing their eyes and sitting in a cave and meditating, but as an expression of higher principles, this type of reaction may come for the benefit of others. And so our Gurudev, he became angry with somebody about some situation, and he was shouting, and this was in his later years when his health was not so good. And so if Gurudev would show himself like that, his servitors would be concerned that he was like overexerting himself too much. And so after that happened, one of his nurses checked his blood pressure. They were worried it like went too high, but it was exactly the same. Internally, he was always fully detached from everything. Are we on number 8 now? I think so. Oh, did I finish? Oh, yeah, I think we're on 8, yeah.
Nainam kinchit karomiti yukto manneta tattavit pasyan srinnan sprishan jigran narasnan gachan sapan shashan.
Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattavit pasyan shinvan sprishan jigran ashan gachan sapan swashan. Oh, and then number 9 is together, so that as well.
Pralapan visrijan ginhan unmisan nimisan napi indriyan indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan.
Pralapan visrijan ginhan unmisan nimisan api indriyan indriyartheshu Vartanta iti dadayan. So 8 and 9.
The realized karma yogi performs the activities of seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, sleeping, breathing, speaking, evacuating, grasping objects, blinking the eyes, and so on, and he understands my sense organs, eyes, ears, skin, nose, and tongue function in relation to the respective objects of form, sound, touch, smell, and taste. Thus, he considers, I do not perform any action at all.
And this is something that even those on a lower level of practice like ourselves, we can, according to the degree of our engagement, our spiritual engagement, according to, and the corresponding purification that begins to take place, we will begin to feel that. We will begin to develop this sense of perspective. There's the soul, and then there's so many layers over the soul. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he explains very nice, I think in Subjective Evolution, how it's like the connecting layers between the soul and all these other outer gross layers. They are so close that we can't see them. It's like if you put your finger too close, anything in front of your eye too close, you can't see it. It's so close, you can't see. You can't see your glasses because they're so close. So there's like that, these outer layers of the minds, the intellect, the body, the senses, etc., the ego, they're so close to the soul, you can't really distinguish. But through the process of purification, which takes place through our spiritual practice, through developing the spirit of dedication, giving, service, then purification starts to take place, and one naturally begins to feel, some separation between these layers. They begin to feel this distinction, this separateness, You start to get this sense, like, oh, this is actually not who I am. This detachment, like my tongue is being attracted to this cake, my eye is being attracted to this, and my mind is going there, and so on and so forth. But and all these bodily functions are going on, and my body wants this, and but you start to realize, oh, this isn't actually who I am. There's somebody else within. And those on this higher level of realization, they're just totally detached, totally detached. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it describes beautifully how Mahaprabhu, in his later years, when he was fully immersed in this mood of Krishna prema, divine love, and viraha, separation, he was always like so deeply immersed in this that all of his like daily activities, they were being performed like automatically. He was so deeply absorbed in this inner state that all these like bodily functions and duties, they were just going on like as a matter of course, just like automatically they were continuing. So as we develop this detachment, this will begin, that soul person within will start to grow, and this outer, we will start to realize how remote all these bodily functions actually are. It's like you look at an insect. The insect is like living so much in its immediate gross environment. Its consciousness is very minutely developed. And in the same way, we're living like in this gross state, but according to the degree that our consciousness evolves, we will begin to develop more and more of a sense that this immediate environment, this immediate body, these immediate bodily functions and desires, these are actually so remote, so far away from who I actually am. Like Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he says the whole of material existence, it is just like an iceberg floating in the ocean of consciousness. It is one very tiny fraction of the total of reality, but consciousness, that subtle plane, that is the real substantial plane. And as we develop, then we will begin, some sense as we grow, as we progress, so that sense within us, it will develop more and more. But just hearing this is very nice. It really gives us some perspective. We think about all these bodily things going on every day, and helps give us some sense of detachment. I don't need to identify with this in like such an immediate way. This is totally disconnected, from who I actually am. Okay, so we're on verse 10.
ब्रह्मण्याध्याय कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति च लिप्यते न सपापेन पद्मपत्र विवाम्भसा.
This is very nice verse. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam chaktva karoti ya lipyate na sapapena padmapatram ivambasa.
One who, though living in this world, selflessly offers all his actions to the Supreme Lord, is not polluted by sin, as a lotus leaf remains on the water, yet it is untouched by it.
As a lotus leaf, oh, I thought it's usually like a drop of water that's on a lotus leaf. I thought that's how we usually see it rendered. You know how, like you see, like when you see on leaves, right? And I think especially on lotus leaves, if there's a drop of water, it's like remains detached from the leaf. I think that's normally how we see that verse translated. I just want to check, Srila.
I also remember this rendering, Vishakha.
The one that I'm, or
No,
this one? Oh, maybe I got it wrong then. I just want to check.
Because it's the whole leaf, actually.
It's like floating.
It's always floating.
But it's not being absorbed.
Oh, I see.
And if you submerge half, like you can see like how the water actually like.
It's just almost like.
Oh, I see.
It's always dry. Something like that.
Oh, I see.
Like water on a duck's back.
I see.
It's resistant.
I guess it's the same principle, right?
Yeah, it's the same principle.
Yeah, I got it wrong all these years. I always thought like that. Yeah, I guess I got it mixed up. What verse number is this? Number 10. Oh, well, in Srila Swami Maharaj it says, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So maybe the translation can go either way. I don't know what happened here. Okay. Okay, so anyhow, the principle is clear. That although engaging in this world, one is not incurring the reactions of this world, they are offering everything up. So verse 11.
Kayena manasa buddha kevalayirindriyairapi yogina karma kurbanti sangang tattva atma suddhai.
Kayena manasa buddhya kevaler indriyerapi yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. I think it's your turn, right?
I just read.
Oh, it's my turn. By giving up attachment, the karma yogis perform action merely through the body, mind, intelligence, and even the senses for self-purification. So this is the wonderful thing. There's the example given, I think, in Bhagavatam, how milk, if one takes too much milk, it can cause some stomach problem, right? However, if you take yogurt, which is milk in a transformed state, that can cure your stomach problem, right? So in the same way, action, normally we think of action as binding us within this world. However, by transforming your action through your intention behind the action, you can actually purify yourself and become free from bondage. Okay, so we'll go to verse 12.
Yukta karma phalang takta shanti mapnoti noistikim ayukta kamakarena phale shakto nibadhyate.
Yuktaha karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim ayukta kama karena phale shakto nibadhyate.
Giving up attachment to the fruits of his actions, the materially unmotivated Nishkam Karma Yogi attains constant peace or liberation from actions and reactions. But the fruity worker, Sakam Karma, is attached to the fruits of his actions, and he becomes implicated by his endeavors.
सर्वकर्माणि मनसा संगनस्यास्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन्
Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan nakarayan.
Mentally renouncing all actions, a sense-controlled embodied living being resides happily within the city of 9 gates, neither acting nor causing work for others.
And the 9 gates, what did I say?
The body of 9 gates, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, mouth, anus and genitals.
This is a very famous verse.
न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्म फलसंयोगा योगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते
Na kachitram na karmani lokasya shijati prabhu na karma ful samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. Na karchitvam. Oh, did I learn that wrong all this time? Right, let me just check that here. What number is that? 14. Yeah, all this time I had it wrong. I thought it was kachitvam. It's karchitvam. Na karchitvam, na karmani. I think of this as like the ultimate, it wasn't me. Krishna is saying like, I am not responsible for your problems. You're responsible, you created this. Oh wait, we didn't read the Sanskrit. Na karchitvam na karmani. Or did we already read it? I'm sorry.
We didn't read the translation.
My brain is totally gone. Your turn.
The Lord does not generate anyone's ego of considering themselves the doer, nor their actions, nor their association with the fruits of their actions. These are all the result of their external nature of ignorance since time immemorial.
So the ego, this is the main problem we have, the ego that I am the doer, and that we want particular things from this world. Then the I'm not responsible for that. You signed for that contract. And then the actions that they perform as a result of that ego, I'm also not responsible for that. And then the consequences they have to face as a result of that, I'm also not responsible for that. Like, very clear. These are all the results of their external nature of ignorance since time immemorial. So we cannot blame him, we can only blame ourselves. This Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he describes this as the main teaching of Bhagavad-gita, that we should not blame the environment, we have to correct our own self. Main teaching. We are responsible for whatever it is we have to face or deal with, we are responsible for that. And if we can adjust ourselves with that vision, then we will find, true happiness and true peace. So this is a very nice verse to learn. I will go to 15.
Nadatte kasyachit papam na jaiva sukritam vibhu aggarena vritam jnanam te namuchanti jantavah.
Nadate kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu agyane navritam jnanam tena muyanti jantava.
The Supreme Lord accepts neither the sin nor the piety of anyone. The living beings fall into illusion because their knowledge is covered by ignorance.
So this is like something that we're generating ourselves. This is like our own program. both the sin and the piety of this world, it is totally removed from the Lord's own reality. That is a totally separate plane. It's nothing to do with him. And he has his delegated parts, who oversee the running of this world and the delegation of, consequences for sin or piety. But the Lord himself in his original form, that is nothing to do with him. We're creating this whole thing ourselves. And so ultimately we want to transcend both sin and piety and connect with the eternal plane of truth, the Lord's own current of reality.
Jnanena tu tadajnanam jesang nasitam atmanah tesam adittavad jnanam prakashayati tatparam.
Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanaha tesham aditya vajjnanam prakashayati tatparam. For persons whose divine knowledge has awakened, their ignorance is destroyed, and their wisdom, like the shining sun, reveals the supreme reality.
Tad buddhaya sadatmanam tannishtat tat parayana gacchanta punaravritting jnana nirthuta kalamasa.
Tad buddhayasthadatmanas tannishtastat gacchantya punarvrittam jnana nirduta kalmashaha.
Those who illusion has been completely dispelled by knowledge always think of me. The Supreme Lord, I am their meditation and they await in me alone. Hearing and singing my unending glories in pure devotion, thus they are liberated from the mundane.
Jai. Very nice. Those whose illusion has been completely dispelled by knowledge always think of me, the Supreme Lord. I am their meditation, and they abide in me alone, hearing and singing my unending glories in pure devotion. Thus they are liberated from the mundane. Okay, number 18.
Vidya vinaya sampanni brahmane kobi hastini suni chaiva sapa kecha pandita samadarshina.
This is a very famous verse. Vidya vinaya sampane brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva shapake cha pandita samadarshina. Pandita samadarshina. The who is pandit, samadarshina. Sama means like equal or even. Their vision, their darshan, it is even. They look upon the world, all the duality of this world, who is apparently high, who is apparently low, and so on and so forth. They see with equal and even vision.
The enlightened souls see transcendence within all living beings, whether the humble and learned Brahmana, the cow, the elephant, the dog, or the dog-eater. Therefore, they are to be known as Pandita, men of true wisdom.
In this world, we put so much importance on distinction, but everyone is soul ultimately. These material distinctions, they dissolve into nothing. We can't, when we die, all of these things are meaningless. Our Gurudev, he commented once how in this world I can't remember exactly what it like what examples he used, but some very high-class person and some very low-class person, within society they'll be very far removed, and maybe that higher-class person won't look at that lower-class person, but after death, they may be in the same place together. You know? So, you know, we tend to be impressed by different, you know, designations or attributes or qualities or assets that people have, but ultimately it is of no value. The only thing that is of value is according to that is to be judged according to the developments that they've made on the eternal side of things. So the wise souls, they see with this spiritual vision. So we're on 19, right?
이허이와 더이리지타 sargo 제상 삼매 스थितं 만ah निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्माद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः.
Ihaiva terjita sargo yesham samye sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te sthitaha. Nirdosh, that is a nice word, without any fault.
Those whose minds are equipoised in Brahman have conquered the cycle of birth and death while living within this world. By their perfect spiritual equanimity, they are always situated in transcendence.
And this reminds us of Shukadeva Goswami. We mentioned his example previously, but this whole section is like connected with Brahma Gyan. You know, so Shukadeva, he was situated in Brahma Gyan. You know, this like, you know, impersonal conception of the absolute, seeing spirit everywhere. So Shukadeva Goswami, who was the reciter of Bhagavatam, he was situated in Brahma Gyan. And then later he was attracted to Krishna Lila, but he was of this nature. You know? And we mentioned that example when he went past some ladies who were bathing naked in a river. They were not shy in front of him because they could see his consciousness was so beyond any bodily conception of life. You know, his eyes were vacant, Param Guru Maharaj. He's not even distinguishing between male and female, and they could see that within him. They could sense that in his presence. So he was of this nature, what we are hearing described here.
Na prahishet priyam prapya nod vijet prapya cha priyam sthira buddhira sangamudho brahma vid brahmani sthitaha.
Na prahishet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam sthira buddhira samudo brahma vid brahmani sthitaha. Absorbed in transcendence, endowed with steady intelligence, and free from the delusion of thinking of the body and associated objects as me and mine. And we hear these terms, ahamta, mamata. These are the two components of the ahankar, the false ego. Me, I, me, I am this, I am that, I am doing this, I'm doing that. This is ahamta. I, and then mamata. Therefore, it is mine. I and mine. These are our two main problems. I, me, and mine. In a nutshell, this is our problem. So free from that delusion, the knower of the Absolute is neither happy when pleasant things come his way, nor sad when unpleasant things come his way. Because these are all material things. These are flickering things. They are nothing to do with the person within.
Vajjasparse sashaktatma bindatyatma nijat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukham akkhayama shnute.
Bhaya sparsheshva shaktatma vindatyatma niyatsukam sabrama yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute.
Detaching this mind from external pleasure such a knower of the absolute truth, taste and inner joy of self-realization, then observing himself in meditation on the absolute, the experience inexhaustible bliss. Experiences
जेहि संस्पर्शया भोगा दुख जो नय एवते आद्यंत बंत कुंते नतेषु रमते बुधा.
Yahi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adyanta banta kunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha.
O son of Kunti, the pleasures that arise from the contact of the senses with their objects are the cause of unhappiness, as they are transient. The wise never delight in such pleasures.
We're in 23, right? Is that right?
Yeah, 23.
Saknoti haivaja sorum prak sharira vimoksanat kama krodhod bhavang begam sajukta sasukhi naraha.
Shaknoti haivaya sodam praksharira vimokshanat kama krodod bhavam vegam sayukta sasuki nadaha.
Know that one who, before leaving the body, utilizes the opportunity of this life to check the impulses of desire and anger, he is a yogi who knows true happiness.
So this life is an opportunity. Sometimes I think of this, like, all these other things, the animals, they do that. Ahara, nija, baya, maitunam, cha. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. The animals do that. And they don't have this opportunity that we have, to try to live according to higher principles. And in doing so, put some check on these lower principles. So we got to use this opportunity that we have. Why shall we waste our time?
Janta sukhuntara stathantar jyotirevaja sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto dhigacchati.
Yanta sukhantar ramas tatantar jyotir eva yahaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto dhigacchati. Such a yogi sees the self within and delights in the bliss of the self within. Attaining the transcendental state, he attains liberation from matter and entry into the abode of Brahman. And this is quite a short chapter, so we can finish it, just a few more verses.
Avanti brahma nirvana rishaya khina kalmasha chinna dvaidha yatatmana sarvabhuto hritirata.
Labante brahma nirvanam ishaya kina kalmashaha chinna dvaida yatatmanaha sarvabhuta hite hitaha. It was 25. Sorry, 25. So we want the translation.
Sinless, free from doubt, self-controlled, and dedicated to the welfare of all living beings. The seers of truth attain such liberation.
Okay, well, we may as well continue.
Kam krodha vimuktanang yatinang yata chetasam abhitu brahma nirvanang vartate viditatmanam.
Kama krodha vimuktanam yatinam yata chetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. 26.
Persons of the renounced order who have controlled their thoughts, who are free from desire and anger, and who have achieved knowledge of the nature of the soul, are liberated whether they live or die.
I'm going to stop there. Because there's some nice comments on this. I went to look it up. Srila Swami Maharaj told. And also, the last verse of this chapter is very famous, and we need to discuss a little more. So we won't get to the end of the chapter tonight. So we will cover that next week. But it's so wonderful to go through this. And it's not just that we're hearing these teachings, but the fact that this has come through the channel of our gurus, or like we were hearing in Revealed Truth, that this is an essential component of true amnai, revealed truth that is coming through a particular channel, means from the heart, of a realized soul to our heart. So our gurus, they have deliberately prepared these texts for our benefit, for us. And our Gurudev so many times requested us to read Srimad Bhagavad-gita. So with their intention, with their goodwill, they've given this to us. And so when we're reading this, we're not just reading or hearing what Krishna said 5,000 years ago. And not even just that we're hearing these eternal truths, but in a very specific way, our gurus are giving this to us. Then so there's so much potency here. It's just jumping off the page at us. These words, they're not just words, but these are living truths that are being given to us by our gurus. There's so much potency, so much power there. In our mat, in Navadvip, in the earlier years, they had this tradition that before they would read from, and I think in particular Srimad Bhagavatam, they would do some puja to the book, offer some flowers and incense, because the idea is that this is conscious spiritual substance, but in a passive form. It is passive, and it wants to reveal itself to us. So we're worshipping this, we're offering ourselves to this, and if it likes it, it may reveal itself to us. So, these are like living truths, and we're hearing them, through the channel of our gurus, and praying that we can surrender to this truth as being superior to us. And if it likes, it may descend and take some tangible meaning within our heart and within our lives. It's not just that we want to take this and put it in our pocket as something that we understood or something that we got, but we want these things to become a tangible part of our lives, become a living reality for us. So we're praying to these shlokas, with the backing of our Guru's grace, please descend, if you like, reveal yourself within my heart, let these things have some tangible meaning within our lives. That's why we don't, like Gurudev would point out, there's like over 1,000 commentaries of Bhagavad-gita. There's even like some fashion that you'll make your own commentary on Bhagavad-gita. I've heard about that. We're not interested in that. That is an empiric exercise. We're not interested in any empiric exercise, but what has descended through the channel of Guru and Vaishnav, Sadhu, that's what we want to connect with, not what's been concocted by your brain. Maybe it's very good, in an intellectual sense, but that's not what we want. We want real, living, vital, spiritual truth to penetrate our heart and change our whole life, to make some real, become something really present and meaningful in our lives. It is a completely separate thing. That's what we want. Okay, so next week we'll continue. Does anyone have any final comments or questions?
In the beginning when we were studying, the Lord Krishna told Arjuna, don't worry about what you do in your actions, because I'm doing everything. So you just do your karma and whatever is happening, I'm doing everything. And in this verse, Krishna is saying, I'm not responsible for your whole actions, it's you are who is doing it. So it is a little bit like making Are we responsible for our actions, or Lord is letting us to do that?
Well, I think it's both, right? It's both. But this whole system of dharma that has been given, actually that system is something separate from the Lord. I mean, in terms of the Lord and his original identity in the supreme plane, that is something separate from him. But it's like a path by which one may begin to approach him. It's like, you could say, like yesterday we were talking about, we were giving the example, like a 3-year-old says, I want to be a rocket scientist, right? It's a pretty big jump, However, there has been some particular path that's been given for persons by which, if they want, they can become a rocket scientist. So now you're 3 years old, you're in kindergarten or something like that, play school. But if you do that well, then you go to level 1, then you go to level 2, then you go to level 3. And if you go through all the levels, it's actually possible to get to the highest level. So you could say, the kindergarten level is so totally removed from the level of being a rocket scientist, right? It's totally separate. However, at the same time, this is where you are right now. You're 3 years old. You need to face the lessons that you need to face right now. This is where you are right now. So these are the duties, these are the lessons that you need to learn right now. And this is the best for you to do right now. This is a start on your journey. So, in one sense you'll say, 1 + 1, you're learning 1 + 1 is 2, you're nowhere. You're so disconnected from that higher plane. But in another sense you can say, well, they're getting on the path. And according to where they are, according to their level of understanding and capacity, they're doing the best that they can. And if they keep following that, follow every lesson that they're supposed to follow, learn every lesson they're supposed to learn, they can gradually progress to the highest plane. So in the same way, the whole system of varnashram, dharma that's been given, Krishna himself says, maybe in the last chapter, 4th chapter, I made that whole system. Chatur varnyam mayashishtam. I made that whole system. However, this system exists in a relative sense for the people who are deviated from this world, as a system by which they can gradually become free from their ahankar, from their ego, from their entanglement in the duality of this world. So in one sense you can say it's totally separate from God in terms of his original place in the spiritual world. But in another sense it's been given to him as a path by which persons can approach him. So I will say yes and I will say no. I don't know if that's too abstract or if it makes some sense. It's like we made the problem. And now we made the problem. We created this problem of this ahankar. And now we're here. Krishna's given us a way by which we can become free. He's coming to help us to get out of it. So the dharma, our worldly dharma that we do, it is a separate, what's being outlined in the Veda. That is ultimately something separate from God. But at the same time, it's something that's been given by God to help us gradually progress to a higher plane and become totally free of this world of duality. Does that make sense? No.
I think his question was more like on the action itself, right? Are you doing this action or?
He's allowing it to take place. First he says, I don't create their ahankar. He mentions three things: their ahankar, and then the actions that they perform as a result of that, and then the consequences of that. So really, he's allowing that to take place. It's not that he's he's sanctioning that. So in one sense, you will say, God is like behind everything. Not anything's happening without His will. But that's like directly. It's not His direct will. But indirectly, He's allowing it to take place. Does that help more?
Yeah.
A little more clear?
A little bit understanding, like the actions, if we do good or bad, God give us senses and to understand if it's good or bad. But before doing an action, we should think first.
Yes.
And some things is not in our hand. We can't control everything in our life.
Yes.
And those things are maybe meant to be have control. That is like everything is controlled by God. But some things we can, before we're doing, like if we're going to murder someone or going to kill ourselves, that is little bit in our hand as well. We should think before what we're doing. So consequences and for the ego, or like if we have ego, that is not given by God. That's our own something we're thinking, and we having this ego in ourselves.
Yes.
For anything, like maybe for wealth or whatever we have, for all the things. So
ego means the very identity that we have. And on the basis of that identity, we are doing so many things. This world, it's like a correctionary institute. We can also think of it as like a playground where people can come and act out their desires to be independent enjoyers within this world. And when you're living like that, you naturally, you learn some lessons in the course of that. Like if kids are playing in the playground, they learn the rules of the playground. They're going to do things that they'll learn. Oh, don't do that and don't do this. And they're learning some in the course of exerting their free will. They're learning some lessons. They're automatically getting some correction. If we're doing things for ourselves, then some correction has to take place. So this world is kind of like a jumble pot where persons are expressing their free will, and naturally there are so many others also expressing their free will, and so there's lots of like clashing that's going on, lots of jumble that's going on, and in the course of that there's some correction that's taking place if we're sincere, if there's some sincerity, and God is like in the background allowing that to take place. It's not that he's like the ultimate. We say everything's happening by His will. It doesn't mean like directly it's His will that this has happened, but He's allowing that to take place. And anything that's happening to us in our lives, we have to, like, how did I get in this situation in the first place? How is it possible that these things are coming to me? It's not random, it's not chaotic. This is in a very intricate way. And like Srila Sridhar Maharaj gives the example of a computer, like nature is like this computer or calculator that's calculating and computing so many intricate different things, So why I think there is some purpose, there is some reason. It's not just like, oh, everything's coming to me and it's out of my hands, but there is some specific reason why everything is coming to us. And there's a lesson in everything that is coming to us. We have to try to develop the vision to see that. We may not always be able to have that vision, but we can surrender and accept this is coming for some reason. Maybe it's just like a patient under anesthesia, being adjusted, and they're unconscious. They're not conscious of all the little tweaks and adjustments that the surgeon is making. They're under anesthesia. So in the same way, different things are coming to us in our lives, and we may not always be conscious of why they're coming or how they're helping us. But if we face them in the right way, we will find something has changed, some purification has taken place. I'm sorry, I'm still speaking very abstract. I don't know if that is helpful. Mahamantra, you answer the question.
What he answered just now is better.
It is, but I think you are on very high level and maybe I can't understand.
What was the original question?
Could it be like a mother and a child? Like you let in a simple form, very, very, very basic form. Like the mother is in control of everything the child does when they're very small. When they're just learning to walk, the mother is in control of everything because they can't go very far anyway. But still she allows the child to try to get up, and it may fall, the child may fall, it may hurt itself.
Yes.
But she's still there in control to pick up the pieces, and to help.
Right.
To help guide in the right way.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that along the way the child doesn't hurt themselves.
Yes, that's a great example.
The child may still hurt themselves, still make a mistake of climbing onto something that they're not meant to, or a step. Steps is a very good one. They climb the steps and fall off the step because they don't know how to. The mother's still there to pick them up, but it doesn't mean that she'll always stop it from happening.
Very nice, very nice. That's a great example. Does that answer your question? What was the original question again?
I mean, in the beginning, Lord Krishna said, whatever happening in the world is like happening because I'm letting it happen.
Right.
Everything is in my control, and
you just do your duty.
Yeah, you just do your duty. Don't worry about the results of it. And all those things.
And then now
in this verse he's saying, I'm not responsible for your actions, consequences, and ego as well. And it's you are responsible for your actions and what your.
I think I would approach this question like the Lord is laying out all the ingredients and all the elements to create this world, and providing the different aspects of the self, the senses, the mind, the intelligence, and even He's the source of the self itself. So in one sense, everything is happening by His will, but later in Gita, He said we are taking by our free will, we are also deciding what to do and what to not. So in one sense, sure, He is the source of everything, but in the other hand, we are the ones performing certain actions and avoiding certain others. So it's as Vishakha said, I think Vishakha's first answer was okay, in the sense that it's a little bit of both. He's doing most of the things, but like we are the ones who can perform this action and offer it or enjoy the results.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
I mean, in the beginning of Gita, Krishna is saying, you know, like, I'm seeing into the future and I already know what the result is, and I've given my backing to that result. Because it's not, you know, again, this direct and indirect. It's not that it's his you know, direct matter, his direct will, but, you know, he's given his approval to that particular consequence of the outcome. But originally, everything is springing up from persons' individual egos, which has not come from him, but has come from our you know, desire for independence. But I think there's a more simple way and direct way of answering your question, but I don't feel capable of giving
it. Comes next one.
I'll meditate.
I have got answers from Mantra, Maya, and you as well. Like, whatever we do, we get whatever result we get. It's not necessarily God wants us to get that result, but sometimes it's our own some actions as well.
We should not do anything with the fruits of the action in mind. We should do our karma, our duty, without thinking of any fruits of the duty.
No, I'm not saying about the fruit of the action, but I'm saying
I think you want to know that when something happens, why does it happen? Like, is it in our control or is it in Krishna's control?
Yeah, that as well. And then also what my question is, like, everything's happening because of the God is behind it. Whatever is happening outside in the world or in anyone's life or whatever. But now in this verse, God saying, I'm not responsible for your actions.
I see.
Your actions. So how come, like, if we do some actions, it's happening because the God will be allowing us to do it. In some ways, it's God's will to happen it. He's allowing it to happen, but also the God is saying, like, I'm not responsible for that as well.
I think this is quite an esoteric question, actually. I remember telling I was talking about this once. I can't remember what.
It's just like that verse that he himself, like the Lord saying, like, I'm not responsible, by your decision, because it's just you're covered by ignorance. Like
when you have a knowledge, light of knowledge,
you will
be sinless, and then
exactly. Yeah.
Which one is
it's a tricky one, but like it itself is answered in that same slok.
Yeah.
Like the question.
answer as well, like it's because of the ignorance, and when we have light of knowledge, then
What number?
What like
Here it is.
The Lord does not generate anyone's ego of considering themselves the doer, nor their actions, nor their association with the fruits of their actions. These are all a result of the external nature of ignorance, since time immemorable.
I mean, I think your question could be answered on a very deep level, which I'm not capable of giving. But in a general way, we can say that we understand everything that's coming to us is our karma. But who made the whole system of karma? What is the purpose of the system of karma? It came from God, came from Krishna, with the purpose of correcting us. So in this sense, we see that things are coming to us as a result of the Lord. However, there are some things, like in terms of our spiritual development, that we will think this is some grace. This is a different category from the worldly, from the world that's different, that's separate from the worldly category of my karma. But grace, pertaining to my spiritual development, my spiritual welfare, that is a separate category from the worldly. But the worldly, our worldly entanglement, karma that's come, everything that's coming to us, in a general sense we will think, this is my karma. But in a general sense we will also say this is coming from God, because ultimately everything's coming from God. Not that in a direct way, oh, you know, like I passed my exams, this is God's, or He has, you know, enjoins this, that I will pass my exams, you know. It's not like that. He's removed from that. But in a remote sense, we can think this is coming from God, because, you know, He created this whole system, and He's allowing it to take place. But we can. You should make your list of questions for when Jagimash comes, because he's very good, and he likes to have questions. Okay. Well, it's getting pretty late, so we'll stop there. How much of it? We sing? Well, or we could just skip singing. It's so late. But where's our? Oh, you can turn off the camera. Jai Srimad Bhagavad-gita. Jai Srimad Bhagavad-gita. Jai Guru Goranga. Jai Hari Jai all the several devotees and friends. Jai Uttar Gorka. I have to turn off separately on YouTube and Facebook.